Hey guys, I will explain my absence from the channel, but I will do that straight after, towards the end of this video, because I just want to dive straight into my review for 2017's It. So here we've got, you could call it the second sort of live adaptation of Stephen King's It. The first live adaptation being the 1990 miniseries with Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown. I will always blame that film for my, not fear, but just feeling uncomfortable around clowns. And it's been years since I've seen the miniseries, and I've been meaning to get it on Blu-ray, just haven't got around to it yet. So I can't really compare it. I can't compare this version, this live telling of that novel with the miniseries, because it's been such a long time since I last seen it, and I've never read the book either. So this live adaptation of it is directed by an Andy Muschietti. I think that's how you say his surname. I'm not really familiar with any other movies in which he's directed, but he brings us what I thought was a very well crafted film. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. So yeah, I can't really compare this film to the book because I've never read the book. So I don't know if it's better or worse. If it is, let me know below. I really couldn't tell you. I have just bought it though, so I'm looking forward to reading that before they release chapter 2. But yeah, this for me was a very well crafted movie, but I don't, as much as I enjoyed this film, it sort of failed on the horror element. It wasn't quite as scary as I thought it could have been. It was definitely unsettling. There were a lot of moments in this movie where I felt uncomfortable, and a lot of that was down to the performances from the cast and the way this film was directed. I think Andy Muschietti did a very good job at crafting this film, but for me, when it came to the horror element, that's where it sort of slipped, you could say. That's where it sort of just didn't quite, it failed to quite sort of really scare me, but it did make me feel uncomfortable and unsettled in moments. And yeah, Pennywise the Clown was sort of creepy, and this was a creepy movie overall. But I just think when it came to the horror, it should have been done slightly different. I fancy they relied a lot on loud sounds in this movie, and that's something that I hate in horrors. And I feel like they were relying too much on just loud noises, mainly with, music to make you jump. And I just didn't jump, and it just didn't scare me. I think this movie could have been a lot scarier if they'd taken away a lot of those noises. And as well crafted as this is, I think just the way in which Andy Muschietti decided to shoot some of these horror scenes, the scenes that were meant to scare you, the choices he made in the execution of these scenes, it just felt at times a little bit cheap. I couldn't say I was a massive fan of how certain scenes played out. Going back to using loud noises, I just think that's a very cheap sort of gimmick to use, and that's used quite a lot throughout the movie. There were very, very little moments. Overall, I thought this was, it was a very well crafted film. It's just when it came to the horror elements, I just would have done it slightly different myself. But what, the performances from all the cast really made this film for me. I am very late bringing you guys this review. I've seen the film about 2 weeks ago, so you'll probably see many, many reviews before mine. And this is actually, it's been a while since I've done a review without actually writing any notes either. But I really wanted to speak, really wanted to talk about this film. And so you've obviously heard that Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is great. And he is very, very good as the clown, Pennywise, the dancing clown. I really dug his performance straight from that first scene in the sewer. I thought he was brilliant. I had a big smile on my face. I was like, wow, what he did with the role was very, very impressive. He was creepy. But same goes for the rest of the cast. All of the child actors, performances from all of them were really, really good. They were really believable. And by having such believable performances from all of these actors, and they are children, I mean, you really, you buy into the story and you actually end up caring for these children. But it's not only the performances, but this horror film has got character development. It's like, wow, we've actually got a horror movie in 2017 that actually has character development, that actually makes you care for the characters and has a lot of heart. This is quite an emotional story, and especially towards the end, it did really sort of pull on the heartstrings. There were a few moments throughout the film where it sort of pulled on the heartstrings. It has quite a deep and emotional story, and I dug that. Going back to performances, the one person that really stood out to me among the cast, and that was a Jeremy Ray Taylor. He plays a Benjamin, and he's like a new kid to the school. You've just arrived at the town dairy, and his performance in this film, wow, he was really, really good. Like all of them were really, really good in this film, but he really stood out to me. The new kid on the block, Jeremy Ray Taylor. Yeah, I was really impressed by his performance in this film. Same goes for the boy. I can't remember his name now from the top of my head actually, but plays Bill, so the lead character. He was also really impressive in this film. When it comes to child actors, it's sometimes you're like, oh, what's these performances gonna be like? But when it comes to casting, 100%, 10 out of 10 for casting in this film. It was spot on. It was perfect casting. So some really good performances. And I was also able to relate to one of the characters, actually. One of them is afraid of the dark. And as a child growing up, I was terrified of the dark. And again, I'm not sure if that might have been because of the original 1990 miniseries, because I was actually a child when I first watched that. And again, I do blame that film for my sort of me feeling uncomfortable around clowns, but maybe the darkness as well. But yeah, I had a big fear of the dark, so I was able to relate to one of the characters at least when it comes to having fears when you're a child. This was a very relatable film, but the way this film it was crafted with the character development, the direction, yeah, the horror element of the movie didn't particularly please me that much. It wasn't quite as scary, or maybe just personally I felt like it needed to be done differently and not rely on these cheap gimmicks they were using. But overall, I was impressed with this film. It was all about these kids. It was a film with a big heart, and it told this story very, very well. There's a very, very intense moment, I'd say, coming towards the end of the second act, going into the third act. It involves one of the children and the clown. And as a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to say too much, but there's a scene involving these two characters, and it was like, wow. And do you know what? It reminded me a little bit of Heath Ledger's performance from The Dark Knight. The way in which Bill Skarsgård played this character, and especially during this one scene. And it came across as if it was almost as if the scene was improvised. Like, he was doing things, and it just seemed very sort of like, I don't know, as if he was just coming up with these moves and doing these things all by himself. He wasn't actually told to sort of act in that way or do this, do that. It was all sort of improvised. That's the way it came across. It was very sort of natural. And it was unsettling. It was unsettling, and it was very intense because you just didn't know what he was going to do next. And it was just that sort of, the way he sort of played that character. I really dug it. Whether that scene was improvised or not, I don't know. It just came across like that. I liked it. I really dug it. I really liked what he did with this character. So yeah, down to the fact that, there is character development in this film. It focuses on most of the main characters, and it fleshes them out. The way in which, the actors performed in the movie had a lot of heart. I really enjoyed this film, and to some degree I could relate to it, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to this film in some shape or form, and it will throw you back to your childhood. It did with me anyway. So I think that is why this film have done so well. It is a well-crafted movie, so there's no doubt about that, and I believe that is why so many people are going to see it. It's doing really well at the box office. But it's, it is a very well-made film. But I do think it's because a lot of people can relate to certain characters within the film. Maybe they've gone through something during childhood, whether like me, a fear of the dark. You feel creepy around clowns. It's gonna be something. This is a coming of age movie as well as a horror movie. It's a sort of a mix, you could say, of genres. I'd call it supernatural as well. Even it actually becomes a hell of a lot more supernatural towards the third act. It starts off as a horror movie, then changes. It goes into the realm of supernatural. So it's a mix of genres, I'd say, but very well done. And I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. That is my review for it. Apologies for the delay. It's been a while since I've done a video. I will quickly explain why. But first, I'm going to give you my grade of 2017's It. And that is an A-. So yeah, what did you guys think of it? Let me know below. Is it better than the book? Is it worse than the book? Or do you prefer the 1990 miniseries? Like I said, I can't compare it to that because it's been years since I've seen it. But yeah, let me know below. So yeah, I just want to quickly apologise to you guys, my subscribers, the people who watch me. It's been a while since I've actually posted a video. And it's not because I've given up on the channel. It's just I've had a lot going on at the moment in my life. You could say I've had a new job. But it's the same job, but I've just moved to a different location. So there's been a lot going on at the moment. I just haven't been able to find time to squeeze anything in between. And today just happens to be where I've actually managed to get a couple of hours where I can just invest some time in shooting my review of it. I really wanted to talk about this film, and I've been dying to talk about it. It's a little bit messy, so I will apologise. I didn't write any notes for it, but I sort of just wanted to throw a lot of things that I liked about it and things that I didn't quite like about it. And like I said, it's been 2 weeks since I've seen it. So there's probably something that I've forgotten to mention, but I might one day return with a spoiler-filled review for you guys. Maybe when it comes out on Blu-ray, I might do another review, but a spoiler-filled one. So yeah, apologies guys, I haven't gone anywhere. But yeah. So my next video coming up now, which I also had planned, is an unboxing. But it's an unboxing of an exclusive steelbook. That is of Alien Covenant, which arrived in the post only today. So I'm going to do a quick unboxing for you guys next. And I do have another video planned as well, but I'll mention that in the next video. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it, especially for those of you that have stuck around. And for those of you that are new to the channel and you like what you see and you share the same passions as me, then why not hit subscribe?